But really, the Cardinals kind of stole the news today. They didn't steal it. They made the news today. Adam Wainwright's coming back. It'll be season number 18, and that's actually a pretty big deal, even in baseball history. And we'll explain that here in a bit. Also, a lot of staff changes today down at Busch Stadium. John Mozeliak scheduled a media briefing for late this morning. Appreciate our producer Dave Solomon being down there to pick up the sound and to get it ready for us. And, the notables are that the Cardinals will have a new pitching coach and a new batting coach. And both guys, in effect, turned down a chance to stay here. Mike Maddux, the pitching coach, in effect, said he just wants to slow down, gear down, stay in baseball. But, as Mozeliak said, Maddux wants to just kind of move at a slower pace. And I can understand that's a pretty consuming job. And then Jeff Albert, I actually really get a kick out of this. The Cardinals had a new contract offer ready for him to go, and they talked to him about it. And he just said, you know what, nah, no thanks. So really smart guy. See, I knew he was smart because he's smart enough to know, man, I got to get the hell out of this place. This is crazy. Because if some fan's kid like Little League Johnny strikes out, somehow that's my fault. These people are nuts. I got to get out of here. It just isn't worth the stress. So he did a smart thing. And the Wolfpack will be quiet for a while until the first slump of 2023. Then they'll turn on the new guy. Because that's what we do in St. Louis, and it's been like that since I got here. We eat batting coaches. We're a Wolfpack. We blame them. We don't hold the players accountable. It's always the batting coach. And it becomes a fetish and an obsession. So I'm really happy. Good luck to Jeff Albert. And in advance, I want to extend my sympathy to whoever they decide to hire to replace him. They may move up Turner Ward, who's the assistant coach, batting coach, seems to be doing really well. Did really well in his first season with the Cardinals, but the hitters really like him. So there's that. As far as who the next pitching coach will be, I have no idea. We can, kind of break all that down. They got a lot of candidates to be the bench coach now that Skip Schumacher's left to become the manager of the Miami Marlins, as we all know. They'll also have to replace a bullpen coach. Frankly, it's not a priority item for me to talk about. And I like the fact that they're making changes. I think change can be good. I really do. And I think in this case, especially on the pitching side, some freshening up, some new ideas, some new thinking, maybe coming at it from a different direction generationally might help the situation. The Cardinals are way behind the times on what makes for successful pitching in today's game, especially in the postseason. I've talked about it ad nauseum. You got to be able to strike people out. They don't. The Wainwright thing, and Will Leach and I, by the way, we did a Seeing Red, emergency Seeing Red podcast this morning about 10:45. You can go to 590thefan.com, listen to that, or listen to that, the 590 The Fan app, which you can get in wherever you get your apps. So Will and I did one. This was before the changes to the coaching staff. Will and I did one on Adam Wainwright coming back. And, the condensed version is that, look, on one level, I think everybody's happy because he's going to pitch another year. It'll be his 18th season with the Cardinals. And I looked this up today. There's only 5 pitchers in the history of Major League Baseball that have spent more seasons exclusively with one team only, no other teams. It's 5 guys, five starting, actually just 5 pitchers that have spent more than 18 years, because it'll be number 18 for Wainwright, more than 18 years with the same team. Walter Johnson, 21 years. Red Faber, the White Sox, 20 years. Mel Harder, Cleveland, 20 years. Jim Palmer, my guy. 19 years with the Orioles. And Mariano Rivera, 19 years with the Yankees. So that's a really exclusive company. And WAINO, in his 18th season, when he gets to it next year, will also be there with Bob Feller, who was there with Cleveland for 18 years. Bob Gibson, 17 years, so WAINO goes past him. So he's now the longest tenured pitcher, exclusive to the Cardinals, the longest tenured pitcher in the history of the Cardinals franchise. Just add that to his list of achievements. So that's all good. And the fact that he's going to be able to knock down some more milestones, 200 wins, maybe get to number 2 all-time in the franchise behind Gibson's, in most wins by a Cardinals pitcher. There's some other things, too. He can strengthen his Hall of Fame case. But if you want to be an adult about this, you also have to wonder, though, what's he got left? How's he going to be able to pitch? He'll be 41 next season. He'll be 42 late next season. He did not finish the season well. I talked about this, wrote about this. If you're a regular reader or listener of mine, you know I have on several occasions. Adam Wainwright's stuff really declined this year. I mean, the swing and miss rate, the strikeout rate, the ground ball rate, the contact rate, the contact rate on strikes. I mean, on and on and on and on. Fastball velocity, 88 miles an hour. His stuff at age 40 started to back up, as they say in baseball parlance. Started to back up, and you can notice it if you were trying to actually get to the bottom of what some of his issues were. And I'm always on a fact-finding mission. So if his stuff was backing up, and it was, that's a fact. It's not an opinion. Well, it's both. If his stuff was backing up at age 40, this was considered his age 40 season. Well, what's it going to look like in his age 41 season? You know what? And anybody who gets bent out of shape by those questions being asked, or who doesn't want to recognize any of this, I mean, you can live in your childish little world. That's okay. The adults here will actually look at the performance, and both things can be true. We're happy that Wainwright is back. We appreciate one of the great pitchers. I think the second greatest starting pitcher in the history of the franchise. Certainly appreciate him fully for what he's meant to this franchise and to the fans. But you also want to start maybe doing better. And, where will he fit in? I mean, how good will he be? It's a totally legitimate question. We do not have answers. But it's important to acknowledge the part 2 of Wainwright coming back in 2023. 95% of it from the media will be about the good, the happy talk stuff. But, I think it's important to say, well, from a baseball standpoint, what can we expect? And it's, like I said, it's totally cool to talk about both things, part 1 and part 2. So I gave you my synopsis there. Jim Hewer, what do you think about Wainwright?
Let's put it this way. I am cautiously optimistic. Let's put it that way. Can we get one more year out of him? I think we're running a dangerous path down here. I'm still skeptical about, and it's not a shot at Adam, I'm still very skeptical about his explanation of what the issue was. I get that he got hit on the knee, and that could be a problem, 100%. But as I talked about with you, we heard 3 different stories in that final month on what the issues were. Well, it was arm slot, and then it was this, and then and at the very end, when it was all done, it was it was dead arm. Then at the very end, it was, well, the stride was off. I'm like, well, that's a whole bunch of different explanations. And I get that his mechanics have to be 100% for him to be effective anymore, because he just doesn't throw the ball by guys anymore. But I just look at it as, okay, we'll see. And how bad does it get if that first month of April, let's just say the first 3 starts, it's more of the same? That's dangerous. That's dangerous to go, now we're on the hook with this guy for the whole time, and he's a proud man, and I get it, and that's why we love him. But what if he just says, I'm going to fight through it, and you go, yeah, but you can't get anybody out anymore. That is a real possibility, and that's scary.
Well, it is. He's a proud man with an 88-mile-an-hour fastball and a curveball that was actually great. If you go by the metrics, and I just use them as a snapshot, if you go by the metrics, I mean, his curveball this past season was the worst it's ever been. It was actually a negative pitch for him. One of the reasons is because hitters finally got smart and they lay off of it. And they wait for him to throw strikes, and they just punish him when he throws strikes because his stuff is a lot more hittable. And, again, it's a fact. It's not like I'm, looking for things. This stuff was a trend all season long. It finally hit home in September, and even in the win-loss thing, I've always liked to look at, well, what is a team's record when so-and-so starts?
Mm-hmm.
And with Wainwright, his first 15 starts of this past season, the team's record was 10-5, and that's what you would expect from WAINO. His last 17 starts, they're 7-10, and you haven't seen that much through the years where over a course of a lot of starts, they actually have a losing record. So, yeah, things started to decline, and I know there's going to be a lot of diaper babies who will push back on that, but that's okay. I have no problem being the adult and B, the bad guy. I have no problem playing that role because somebody's got to occasionally speak the truth in our town. So I'm happy to do it. On the show today, we'll have Craig Calcaterra, Cup of Coffee blogger. That's his blog on Substack. You can check it out. It is behind a paywall, but you can try it out for free. Go to cupofcoffee.substack.com. Longtime blogger, award-winning blogger for NBC Sports, covering baseball. Went out on his own, and I'm a subscriber, and it's fun, a lot of fun. We'll have Derek Gould at 5 o'clock to talk about all this from down at Busch Stadium. But Craig Calcaterra coming up in about 9 minutes or so, and Andy Strickland coming up at 5 o'clock. Why don't I want to hear a couple of things. We make use of our time here. Sure. And we'll start at the top. Mo talking about Wainwright returning for what will be his 18th season in 2023.
We're super excited that he's coming back. I think some of you understood that he did have interest in pitching again. He and I started talking about this, early September. Obviously the September didn't go as the way he really wanted it to, but we really do feel like there's something left in that tank, and we all know how competitive he is. We know how special he is in that clubhouse and what he means to this organization. So, just glad we were able to get it done. I think he can have a normal off season. I spoke with him this morning. He's excited. He's energized, and obviously, you think about how we look at our roster next year, you're always going to be needing pitching, and so having him come back is certainly helpful for all of us.
No, I agree with that. It certainly adds to their depth, and I'm going to just say, okay, let's say he's average. It's still good to have depth. The problem with it, though, it's political, and it puts Ali Marmol in a tough spot because if you have depth and you have guys you can give the ball to that you think can pitch well, and the guy that's the second greatest starting pitcher in the history of the franchise no longer can pitch well, well, what do you do?
Exactly.
So it's nice to have depth, but the depth is worthless if you don't start your best 5 guys, if they're available, right?
Yeah.
How valuable is the depth if you won't play it straight in terms of who you select to pitch? Now, hopefully that will not be an issue. Hopefully Wainwright will pitch well, or at least pitch solidly in 2023. But, yeah, I just get the feeling there's going to be some twists and turns on this. Let's move on down, and I don't really want to hear about the whole I want to concentrate on Jeff Albert, and we got a couple of things from John Mozeliak today. First of all, talking about the things that Albert did well, his contributions to the organization. We'll listen to that, and then Mozeliak also talked about the criticism of Albert. So let's start with Jeff Albert's contributions, according to the president of baseball operations.
Jeff accomplished exactly what we were hoping him to do. He modernized our hitting program, our strategy. I think he, made a huge contribution to our minor league side. So I think from that standpoint, it was a success. I think, when you look at what was happening up here at the big league level, I think, people were tough on him. It wasn't an easy job. Our offense was good this year, though. I mean, you compare it to the league, and it was good. And so, I was hopeful he would come back, but I think, for personal reasons and just, wanting maybe to try something different is really why we are where we are. But I thought the combination of him and Turner were good. It was good. I think like having the different voices allowed players places to seek advice, and so that standpoint. So as I look to the future, I could imagine that we're going to try to find something that resembles a little bit how Jeff thought, and hopefully we can address that need moving forward.
At the major league level, Mo's right about the his overarching contribution. Talking about Jeff Albert, is he put in a system, a hitting program, that was universally applied in the minor leagues, which the Cardinals had never had before. The Cardinals were still stuck in the past; they're way behind the times, and he really did modernize that part of a very critical part of the future success of young Cardinals hitters who go to the major leagues. And if you look at the major leagues, you look at this year in particular, the Cardinals this year led the National League and were second overall in OPS plus. They ranked fifth in runs, tied for fifth in runs per game. They were fifth in on-base percentage, seventh in slugging, and in addition, they had the fifth best OPS in the majors when hitting with runners in scoring position, and they lowered their strikeout rate for like the second or third year in a row. It was the fourth lowest, as in best, strikeout rate in the big leagues, 19%. So he did get a lot done, and I can hear the hollering now, but the playoffs. Yeah, when you take that wild card game last year and you take the two games to the Phillies this year, and the two guys that you pay, a combined $60 million to, who are all-stars and they're MVP candidates and they're two of the top three guys in wins above replacement this year, when you take those two guys and those three games and you combine what they do, 2 for 22 with a bunch of strikeouts. Of course, I'm talking about Goldschmidt and Arenado. Let me tell you something. If they were playing for another team and the same thing happened, I don't think people would be blaming all of it on the batting coach, but that's how we roll in the Lou. That type of thing would happen to any team, virtually every team, in a short postseason series, when the two big guys you count on the most don't show up in terms of performance. How the hell that's Albert's fault, I have no idea. Then again, I am nuts in some areas, but on subjects like this, no, I am not insane. I am surrounded by insane people, however. So, such is life. It's okay. But
are you saying I'm insane, Bertie?
No, I meant just in general.
I'm kidding.
The baseball public. No, it's just like how the hell does anybody expect to win when your two guys they get small?
It's true.
But how is that the batting? Oh, he's got to fix them. Oh, really? I mean, like these guys don't know how to hit. They don't know what they're doing. Maybe pressure getting to them. They look like guys who were pressured out, if you ask me, right? One more thing. Let's talk about the criticism, or John Mozeliak talking about the criticism of Jeff Albert.
In Jeff's particular case, I think there was some levels of frustration and, feeling like took a lot of the blame when things weren't going well. And for him, I think he's just open to change.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. Anyway, so he's really smart guy. So I hope whatever he does, he's happy. But I also hope he gets a fair shake because he was treated like garbage here, and it's kind of an embarrassment. But I think he leaves behind a pretty good record. And the Cardinals got to do a lot of things to fix their postseason record. But once again, I tell you once and once and once again, postseason's random, and the Cardinals aren't the only team that's gone belly up because they don't score. So you know what? Let's just fire every hitting coach there is, because unless you scored 9 runs a game in the postseason or whatever, people want to come take you away and throw you in the Mississippi River. Never. Don't you dare hold the players accountable. Not your little babies, unless it's Paul DeYoung, maybe. Don't you dare hold them accountable.